Okay folks, welcome back to the channel. This is Pro Tips Volume 16. Let's get started. Okay folks, let's get started. Tip number 1. Now, since the middle of version 10, Tesla came out with something called voice commands. And when they first came out, everyone was excited about it and everyone used it, including myself. And if you were like myself, after a little while, they got old and people didn't use them as much. But one of the ones I continue to use to this day is for the climate. When you're leaving the car for a short period of time and you're coming back within a minute or two or even 5 minutes and you don't want the climate to turn off, you want the AC in the summer to stay on, or you want the heat in the winter to stay on to keep the car warm or cold, all you do is either on the voice command button here on the right of the steering wheel or on screen, the microphone, you tap it and this is what you say: Climate Keeper. And now you can see it says Climate Keeper enabled. So that's it. Then you can leave the car. You don't have to press anything else. You don't have to do anything to your app. You can do it in your app too, but you don't have to. You can just walk out. Your car will automatically lock. This is as opposed to putting dog mode on or camp mode on. You can use those methods too. Quickly, just before I go, another phrase you can say instead of Climate Keeper, you can just say Keep Climate On. And that also is the same thing as you can see as Climate Keeper. So that is tip number 1. Okay folks, tip number 2. Now, tip number 2 is brought to us by our friend Ryan Wins. He brought this to my attention. Anyone that listens to podcasts or music albums and stuff like that, where there's a list of different things, this tip will be good for you. So you see how we have the entertainment system right here, all minimized, so you can see the map and everything. And if we touch it, it goes medium, and then if we touch it again, it goes full. Well, see how we can see them all here? Well, usually it would be like this, and this would be your playlist or your favorites and stuff like that. And selfish little plug, Tesla Talks podcast, check it out. So let's not use that. Let's use Ride the Lightning. So
on this week's episode of Ride the Lightning,
let me turn it down so Ryan doesn't give me copyright infringements and stuff like that. So as you can see, if I click it as much as I want, I'm only on episode 269. I can't change anything else. The way to change it is if it's down here and you're driving and stuff like that, see these 3 little lines here? Now, anyone that goes back to the OG Model 3 person, they'll know that these 3 little lines are actually the Model 3 original logo. Now, if you click on that or you click on anything here where it has the description in the white area, it'll bring up the playlist of the podcast. So if you do that, see now all of a sudden I've got Ryan's complete playlist, all his episodes and stuff like that. If I was just to go back, and so I'll do something different. I'll do the Joe Rogan podcast. So Joe Rogan podcast, it's playing episode 1543. I can't believe he's got 1,500 podcasts out. But once again, I can't find the playlist. Even if I click here, there's no way of finding the playlist. If I touch up here, all of a sudden, well, I just minimized it, but if I touch up here, all of a sudden the playlist comes up and you can have access to any one of the episodes you want. So that is tip number 2. Okay folks, moving right along to tip number 3. Now this tip is brought to us by our friend Darren LeBlanc. Darren LeBlanc gave us this tip on one of the Facebook groups and I thought it was great. And I don't know if you know when this has come in and what version it came in. Let me know. I know it wasn't there probably. Well, I can guarantee you it wasn't there back in February when I went down south to Florida and did a road trip. But I'm not sure other than that when it came in. So it's for when you're driving. Let me put this in autopilot so I can concentrate on you guys a little bit more as well as concentrate on the road. So as you can see, we're here in Canada, so we're metric, so it shows the kilometers. It's 73 kilometers an hour, right? It says kilometers here. Here's a little tip. If you go into the settings and you go to display, scroll down to where it says distance, miles or kilometers, you can change the conversion. Right now I have it in kilometers. If you change it to miles, so it changes it to miles and it shows the maximum miles and it shows you the autopilot speed here in miles. Everything's miles, but look down here in the just below the big font of the speed there. It is kilometers an hour. So it's doing the conversion right as we're driving, it's doing the conversion. That's great to see that Tesla's had enough foresight to figure that people are going to want to change it, but people aren't going to know the exact speed. So we can see that we're doing 27 miles an hour, which is 43 kilometers an hour. So that is tip number 3, folks. Very simple, but very useful. Okay, folks, the next pro tip has to do with multiple lane changes on a highway or freeway. When you want to do multiple lane changes, let me go in autopilot first of all. I will come out of, I'm just in regular autopilot. Now, if I wanted to, I could just put the lane change on and it'll just go, or the turn signal on and it'll just change lanes. We know that, so let's not do it. But if I want to go 2 lanes over, instead of pressing it all the way down, just press it a half click, hold onto it like I'm doing here. It'll change over 1 lane. Once it's free to do so and no one's in the way, it'll change over the next lane too. And it's that easy. Just keep your finger on it, but don't press it down all the way. Just one of those half clicks. Like if you're, when you do a half click for when you're just, the turn signal comes on for like 3 or 4 seconds, when you're just quickly changing a lane on a city road or something like that. When you're not on autopilot, it's the same thing. So now if I want to get back over, I click right, hold on to it just like a half click, keep it on. It'll change lanes, as you can see, into the middle lane. Keep my hand on there, my finger on the turn signal, and it'll change another lane. So that is multiple lane changes smoothly and fluidly. That is your next pro tip. Okay, folks, this is the final tip, and if you're a fan of the pro tip series, you know that I usually leave my favorite pro tip for the very, very end. So this is my favorite pro tip. Has to do with text messaging. Now, we've got text messaging from our phones to their cars probably in the last few months. So if you're like me, sometimes you get a text message from a person and they text more than once, and you get 2 or 3 or multiple texts that you don't need to reply to every single one. But if you just click on it, it'll sit there and listen, and then you'll have to come out of it and then go back into it. And sometimes you lose the message because you don't get it in time. So this tip is to get all your messages all at once by just simply triple tapping the screen. I'll show you, I'll give you an example. So as we're talking, oh, hold on, someone sent me a text. So if I go to listen to the text.
Elon Musk says, hey Dax, how's the pro tips video going?
Oh, he sent me another one. So if I triple tap.
Elon Musk says, do you want to meet up soon? I have a Cybertruck idea I need to bounce off you.
So I'm gonna have to get back to him later. But that's a perfect example and perfect timing. I'm just kidding, folks. This is just all stage, but obviously it's a demonstration of how it works. So all you have to do, as you saw there, was once the message is up and you're listening to the first message, or even if you finish listening to the first message, within I think 5 seconds, else it'll go away. Triple tap that text window in a quick succession, and your next message will come up and start playing. So that's tip number 5, folks. So there you have it, folks. Those are the pro tips for your Model 3 and Model Y. This is volume 16. If you like this kind of pro tips, folks, and you have more of your own that you think may be a good pro tip, like those other guys Ryan and Darren did in this episode, put a comment down below. Let me know your pro tip. I will feature it in the next one. I will give you full credit just like I did before. And if you like this pro tip series, folks, do me a favor, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, let me know that you like it, and I will bring you more. So if you like this pro tip series, I put together a playlist of all 16 volumes, including this one. I'm going to put a link right up here in the eye in the sky here. Click on that. You can get all the pro tips from volume 1 all the way to today's volume. And keep in mind, most of them still work for the 3 and the Y, but because this pro tip series is probably about a year and a half or a year old, that some of the pro tips that you may see of earlier ones may not still work now, because our cars, as you know, they get updates, they change so often, things happen. Anyways, folks, that's all I got for you. Thanks for watching. I will catch you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.